Hi, welcome. Enjoy the content, subscribe and turn on notification.
The beginning of the end did not announce itself with a shout or a crash. It arrived on a Tuesday, wrapped in the mundane packaging of domestic routine. Elias Thorne was a man of patterns. As a senior forensic auditor for a mid-sized firm in Chicago, his life was governed by the detection, too, of discrepancies. He looked for the missing decimals, the receipts that did not match the ledger, the ghosts in the machine. He valued precision. He valued the truth, or at least, the version of truth that could be proven on paper. At 20 minutes past 8 in the evening, Elias was positioned on the beige sectional sofa, his legs extended onto the oak coffee table. He was reviewing a complex tax file for a logistics company, highlighting irregularities in yellow. The apartment was quiet, save for the hum of the refrigerator and the low murmur of the television, which was tuned to a reality cooking competition that neither of them was really watching. Audrey sat beside him. Audrey, his wife of 3 years, partner of 5. She was bathed in the artificial blue luminescence of her smartphone. Her thumb moved in a rhythmic, hypnotic swipe. Up, up, stop, tap, up. She was a public relations specialist, a job that required her to be perpetually connected, perpetually on. Elias had long ago accepted that her phone was an extension of her hand, a third limb, necessary for her survival in the corporate ecosystem. The silence between them was the kind Elias had always categorized as comfortable. It was the silence of two people who knew the rhythm of each other's breathing. Or so he had calculated. At 45 minutes past 8, Elias placed his highlighter down. The risotto was good tonight, he said, testing the air. Creamier than last time. Audrey did not look up. Her eyes were locked on the screen, reflecting a rapid sequence of images. She hummed. A non-committal vibration of vocal cords. Glad you liked it. Elias watched her for a moment. He noted the slight furrow of her brow. Not of stress, but of intense focus. She was smiling. A small, private curvature of the lips. That did not seem to align with the generic content of a social media feed. He shrugged it off. He returned to his ledger. Then, the anomaly occurred. It was 10 minutes past 9. The air in the room was stagnant. Without lifting her head, without breaking her visual connection with the device in her hand, Audrey spoke. Silas. Could you pass me the water? The name hung in the air. Heavy. And foreign. Silas. It was not a stumble. It was not a mumble. It was spoken with a casual, practiced intimacy. The way one speaks the name of a person who is woven into the fabric of their daily existence. It was spoken with the muscle memory of 1,000 previous utterances. Elias frozen. The yellow highlighter hovered over a column of numbers. His brain, trained to spot errors, processed the input. Input. Silas. Expected input. Elias. Discrepancy. Total. A cold sensation, like ice water being poured down the back of his shirt, trickled down his spine. It took him exactly 3 seconds to turn his head. Excuse me? Elias asked. His voice was level, but the frequency had dropped. It was the voice he used when a client tried to hide an offshore account. The reaction from Audrey was immediate and incriminating. The color drained from her face, leaving her complexion the shade of old parchment. The hand holding the phone jerked. A spasm of pure, neurological panic. She looked at Elias. Her eyes wide, the pupils dilated. She looked like a deer that had not just seen the headlights, but had already felt the impact of the bumper. What? She stammered. Her voice pitched up, tight, and brittle. You called me Silas, Elias stated. He did not ask. He stated a fact. He set the ledger aside on the floor. Who is Silas? Audrey swallowed. The movement of her throat was visible, her mind was visibly racing, the gears grinding, as she frantically searched for a plausible cover story. Oh, God. Sorry, she laughed. But the sound was hollow, metallic. I was reading this email from work. Silas is a new client. A photographer we are contracting for the gala. I must have just read his name as I spoke. You know how my brain gets when I am multitasking. Elias stared at her. He watched the way her fingers trembled slightly as she gripped the phone. He watched the way she refused to hold his gaze for more than a second. Her eyes darting to the TV. To the floor. To anywhere. But him. He had been married to this woman for 3 years. He knew her tired face. He knew her stressed face. This was neither. This was her caught face. A client, Elias repeated. Yes. A client. He is very demanding. Just work stress. Honey. You know how it is. She reached out, placing a hand on his knee. Her palm was damp. Don't look at me like that. It was just a slip of the tongue. Elias looked at her hand on his knee. It felt like a foreign object. Right, Elias said. He picked up his papers. Just a slip. He pretended to return to work. But the numbers on the page had ceased to make sense. They were just ink on paper. His mind had latched onto a new audit, a new investigation. The anomaly had been logged. The investigation had begun. For the next 4 days. Elias Thorne ceased to be a husband. He became an observer. He became a camera. Recording from the corner of the room. The seed of doubt, once planted, is a voracious weed. It grows with terrifying speed, choking out logic, affection, and history. Elias found himself watching Audrey not with love, but with a clinical, morbid curiosity. He noticed the patterns. Exhibit A, the device. Previously, Audrey's phone had been a casual object, often left on the kitchen counter or the coffee table while she showered. Now, it was tethered to her. When she cooked, it was in her pocket. When she went to the bathroom, it went with her. When she sat down, she placed it screen side down. Always. Without exception. Exhibit B. The micro-expressions. Elias would walk into a room. And Audrey would flinch. It was subtle. A slight stiffening of the shoulders. A quick swipe of the thumb to close an application. She would look up with a smile that was too bright, too quick. A mask of normalcy that didn't quite fit her face anymore. Exhibit C, the absences. The girls are going out again tonight, Audrey announced on Thursday evening. She was standing in front of the bedroom mirror, applying a shade of lipstick that Elias recalled she used to reserve for their anniversaries. Just drinks at the Vermilion. I won't be late. That is the 3rd time this week, Elias noted from the doorway. He was leaning against the frame. Arms crossed. You and the girls have a lot to catch up on. It's a busy season, Audrey replied, blotting her lips. She did not look at his reflection in the mirror. Everyone is stressed. We just need to vent. Elias watched her put on her earrings. They were diamond studs he had bought her for her 30th birthday. Have fun, he said. He did not mean it. The paranoia was a physical weight in his chest. It made it hard to breathe. He sat in the living room after she left. The silence of the apartment mocking him. He was a man of facts. And he had none. He had a wrong name. And a gut feeling. In his line of work. That was not enough for a conviction. He needed hard data. The breakthrough came on Friday. Elias left work early. A meeting with a client had been cancelled. And rather than staying at the office, he decided to return home at 4 in the afternoon. He did not text Audrey to let her know. He unlocked the front door. Quietly. It was not a conscious decision to be stealthy. But a subconscious one. He stepped into the hallway. His shoes making no sound on the runner rug. He heard her voice. Drifting from the bedroom. No. He has no idea, Audrey was saying. Her voice was low. Sultry, it was a tone she hadn't used with Elias in over a year. I played it off. He bought the work stress excuse. He is predictable like that. Elias stood frozen in the hallway. His heart hammered against his ribs like a trapped bird. I know, she continued. And there was a pause. As if she was listening to a response. A soft, breathless laugh escaped her lips. I miss you too. God. Being here it is suffocating. I have to pretend everything is fine. But tomorrow. Yes. Same place. I can't wait to touch you. Elias felt a wave of nausea so violent he had to grip the hallway table to steady himself. This was not suspicion anymore. This was confirmation. He made a choice, then. He could storm in. Screaming. He could confront her. But the auditor in him demanded more. He needed the full picture. He needed to know the extent of the fraud. He stepped back, opened the front door again, and slammed it shut, loud enough to shake the frame. "Audrey. I'm home," he called out, his voice cheerful, masking the bile in his throat. From the bedroom, there was a flurry of motion. Something dropped. A drawer slammed. Audrey emerged 10 seconds later. She was breathless. Her cheeks were flushed. "Elias. You startled me. You are home early." "Meeting cancelled," Elias said, walking past her into the kitchen. He grabbed a bottle of water to hide the trembling of his hands. "Who were you talking to?" "Talking to?" Audrey blinked. "Oh. Just my mother. She was asking about the weekend." "Your mother," Elias repeated. "Yes. She sends her love." Elias took a long drink of water. He looked at his wife. At the lie sitting so comfortably on her lips. He realized then that he did not know this woman. He was living with a stranger who wore his wife's face. "That is nice of her," Elias said. That night, lying in bed next to her, listening to the rhythm of her breathing, Elias felt a profound, icy clarity. He was going to destroy this. But first, he needed the records. Saturday morning. 3 o'clock. The city outside was asleep. Draped in a heavy, gray drizzle. The streetlights cast long, distorted shadows across the bedroom floor. Audrey was asleep, curled on her side, facing away from him. Elias moved with the precision of a bomb disposal technician. He slid out of the covers. Inch by inch. He held his breath. Audrey stirred slightly, murmured something unintelligible, and settled back into deep sleep. Her phone was on the nightstand, connected to the charger. Elias disconnected it. His hand hovered over the screen. He knew the passcode. 4589. It was the last 4 digits of her social security number. Unless she had changed it. He tapped the screen. The light exploded in the darkness, blinding him for a second. He dimmed it immediately. He entered the code. Click. Unlocked. Elias let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. He moved to the bathroom, closing the door and locking it. He sat on the cold tile floor, his back against the bathtub. He opened the messaging application. At the top of the list was Mom. Elias frowned. Had she been telling the truth? He opened the thread. Just mundane chatter about recipes and weather. Then he scrolled down. Nothing suspicious. Just colleagues. Friends. But Elias knew better. He knew about archived chats. He knew about hidden folders. He checked the archives. And there it was. A thread with no name. Just a sunflower emoji. He opened it. The breath left his lungs as if he had been punched in the solar plexus. It was not just a few messages. It was a novel, a chronicle, of betrayal. "Silas. I can't stop thinking about yesterday. The way you looked in that dress. Audrey. I only wore it for you. Taking it off for you was the highlight of my month." Elias scrolled up. His thumb moved frantically, rewinding time. He saw photos. Selfies of them in bed. A bed that was not this one. Photos of them at restaurants Elias had wanted to try, but Audrey had said were too expensive. Photos of them in a park. Laughing. Looking like the perfect couple. He looked at the dates. 3 weeks ago. 2 months ago. 4 months ago. 6 months ago. 6 months. Half a year. He stopped at a message sent 2 weeks prior. "Audrey. I feel like I am suffocating when I am with him. It is just convenient. The marriage is just a safety net at this point. I am just waiting for the right time to cut the cord. But I don't want to lose the apartment yet." Convenient. The word burned itself into Elias's retinas. 3 years of marriage. 5 years of life together. Reduced to a utility. A safety net. He was not a husband, he was an insurance policy. He was a roommate who paid the mortgage. He read on. They discussed plans. A trip to Italy in the summer. A trip Elias had been saving for. Silas talking about how he wanted to wake up next to her every day. Audrey replying that Elias was boring, predictable, and emotionally stunted. Elias lowered the phone. He stared at the tiled wall of the bathroom. He felt a strange sensation. He expected rage. He expected to want to smash the phone against the porcelain. But what he felt was a hollowing out. It was the feeling of a building imploding. A controlled demolition. The structure of his life was collapsing into dust, leaving nothing but empty space. He was boring? Perhaps. He was predictable? Yes. He was the man who made sure the bills were paid. The man who remembered to service her car. The man who held her hair back when she had the flu. And she was laughing at him. With a man named Silas. Elias picked up the phone again. He did not cry. He opened his own email account. He began to screenshot. Swipe. Capture. Swipe. Capture. Swipe. Capture. He documented the affair with the same meticulous attention to detail he applied to his audits. He captured the dates. He captured the explicit photos. He captured the insults. He captured the plans to leave him. He emailed the entire file to a secure, encrypted drive he used for sensitive work documents. 20 minutes later, he deleted the sent email from her phone, closed the apps, and crept back into the bedroom. He plugged the phone back into the charger. He lay down beside his wife. He could smell her shampoo. Lavender and vanilla. It used to be a scent that brought him comfort. Now, it smelled like formaldehyde. Elias stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. He did not sleep. He was planning the exit strategy. Sunday was a masterclass in acting. Elias woke up and made pancakes. He brewed the coffee. He whistled while he worked. When Audrey walked into the kitchen, looking groggy and soft in her pajamas, Elias greeted her with a smile. "Good morning," he said. "Blueberry pancakes. Your favorite." Audrey looked surprised. "Oh. Wow. You are in a good mood." "I am," Elias lied. "I realized I have been too stressed with work lately. I wanted to make it up to you." He watched her relax. He watched the tension leave her shoulders. She believed him. Because to her, he was the predictable, boring Elias. The Elias who didn't suspect. The Elias who was convenient. "That is sweet," she said, pecking him on the cheek. He felt his skin crawl where her lips touched him. But he didn't flinch. "Actually," Elias said, flipping a pancake, "I was thinking, you should go out with the girls again tonight. I know you said you were going out Friday, but you seem stressed. Why don't you have a proper Sunday funday? I have some work to catch up on anyway." Audrey's eyes lit up. It was instantaneous. The predator seeing an open gate. "Are you sure?" she asked, trying to sound hesitant. "Absolutely. Go. Have fun. Don't worry about dinner. I'll order something." "You are the best," she said. She spent the afternoon getting ready. Elias sat on the couch, pretending to read a book. But he was watching her. He watched her curl her hair. He watched her choose a dress. A deep emerald green silk that hugged her figure. "I won't be too late," she promised. Standing at the door. "Take your time," Elias said. "Don't rush back on my account." She left at 5. As soon as the door clicked shut, Elias stood up. He did not order dinner. He went to the bedroom. He packed a single suitcase. Just the essentials. A few changes of clothes, his laptop, his toiletries, his passport. He then went to the living room. He connected his laptop to the large television screen. He pulled up the folder labeled Evidence. He sat down and waited. Audrey returned at 11:30. She was glowing. Her hair was slightly mussed. Her lipstick was worn off. She smelled of wine and expensive cologne. A musk that was definitely not Elias's. "I'm home," she called out, kicking off her heels in the hallway. "We had such a great time. Sarah was telling us this crazy story about." She walked into the living room and stopped. Elias was sitting in the armchair, facing the television. The lights were off. The room was illuminated only by the 60-inch screen. On the screen was a photo. It was a selfie. Audrey. And a man with shaggy brown hair. Silas. They were in bed. Audrey was looking at the camera with half-lidded eyes. Her head resting on Silas's bare chest. The silence that followed was heavy enough to crush bones. Audrey dropped her purse. It hit the floor with a heavy thud. Her face did not just pale, it disintegrated. The mask of the happy, carefree wife dissolved, revealing a creature of pure terror. Elias, she whispered. It was a plea. So, Elias said. His voice calm, conversational. How was Sarah? Or should I ask? How was Silas? Audrey took a step back, shaking her head. Hi. I can explain. It's not. Do not, Elias cut her off. His voice snapped like a whip. Do not insult my intelligence, not now. Not after 6 months. He pressed a key on the laptop. The image changed. It was a screenshot of the text. The marriage is just a safety net. Safety net, Elias read aloud. Convenient. He looked at her. Is that what I am to you, Audrey? An ATM? A roommate? Tears began to stream down her face. Ugly. Black streaks of mascara ran down her cheeks. No. Elias. Please. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I was confused. I was going to end it. I swear. You were going to end it? Elias scoffed. He clicked to the next slide. A message from 2 days ago. I can't wait to leave him. Just need to figure out the finances. The records suggest otherwise, Elias said coldly. Audrey fell to her knees. It was a dramatic, pathetic gesture. She crawled toward him, reaching for his hand. Please. I love you. We can fix this. I'll stop. I'll block him. I'll do anything. Don't throw away 5 years over this. Elias pulled his hand away as if she were contagious. You threw it away. Every time you went to that hotel. Every time you lied to my face. You threw it away. I was weak, she sobbed. I made a mess. But I love you. You love the convenience, Elias corrected. And I am no longer convenient. He stood up. I want you to leave. What? Audrey looked up. Stunned. Get out. Now. Go to your mother's. Go to Silas's. I don't care. But you are not sleeping here tonight. Elias. You can't. Get out. Audrey wiped her face. She looked desperate. She looked like a trapped animal. And then. She played her final card. I'm pregnant. The words hung in the air. Vibrating. Elias stopped. He looked down at her. For a moment. The world tilted on its axis. A child. They had talked about children. They had planned for it next year. What? He asked. His voice barely a whisper. I found out last week, Audrey sobbed. Clutching her stomach. I'm pregnant. Elias. We're having a baby. You can't kick me out. We have a family. Elias stared at her. He looked at her flat stomach. He felt a surge of emotion. Hope. Maybe. Or was it biological instinct? But then. The auditor stepped in. He did the math. The timeline. Whose is it? Elias asked. The question hit Audrey like a slap. Her mouth opened. Then closed. Her eyes darted away. It's yours. Of course it's yours, she said. But her voice lacked conviction. It trembled. Elias laughed. It was a dry, humorless bark. You don't know. Do you? Audrey didn't answer. She simply cried harder. That's what I thought, Elias said. The hope vanished. Replaced by a glacier of indifference. Get out, Audrey. Before I drag you out. But the baby. If it is mine, Elias said. Walking to the door and holding it open. We will discuss custody through lawyers. If it isn't. Well. Silas better have good health insurance. Audrey gathered her purse. She was shaking uncontrollably. She walked to the door. Pausing to look at him one last time. You will regret this, she hissed. Her sorrow turning to venom. You are a cold, heartless bastard. And you, Elias said, are a liability I am writing off. He slammed the door in her face. He locked the deadbolt. He engaged the chain. Then, Elias Thorne slid down the door until he hit the floor. He put his head in his hands. He did not cry. He just breathed. In. And out. Listening to the silence. It was finally. Truly. Honest silence. The divorce proceedings were clinical. Elias treated them like a business merger gone wrong. He hired a ruthless attorney who specialized in infidelity cases. He provided the digital evidence. He controlled the narrative. Audrey moved in with Silas. The paternity test was conducted via a non-invasive prenatal procedure at 14 weeks. Elias insisted on it. He paid for it. He needed the data. He received the results via email on a Tuesday. Exactly like the one where everything fell apart. Probability of paternity. Elias Thorne. 0.0%. Probability of paternity. Silas Vance. 99.9%. Elias read the document twice. He printed it. He filed it. He felt a weight lift off his shoulders that he hadn't realized he was carrying. He was free. There was no tether. No child to bind him to the wreckage of his marriage. He heard through mutual acquaintances. Spies in the enemy camp. That paradise was having trouble. Silas was an artist. He liked his freedom. He liked the idea of a muse. Of a secret affair. He did not like the reality of a crying, hormonal pregnant woman living in his small studio apartment. He did not like the financial burden of a baby. The convenience Audrey had sought was gone. The excitement had curdled into obligation. Rumors floated back to Elias, arguments. Money troubles. Silas cheating on Audrey with a younger model. Audrey calling old friends. Crying about how she had made a mistake. Elias listened to these reports with a detached interest, like reading about a minor car crash in the newspaper. He felt no joy. But he felt no pity either. It was simply the logical conclusion of bad data management. One afternoon, Elias was sitting in a cafe, reviewing a file. He looked different. He had grown a beard. He was dressing better. He had started running in the mornings. His phone buzzed. A notification from Instagram. He hadn't blocked Audrey, he simply didn't care enough to. It was a picture of the baby. Born 2 days ago. A boy. Audrey looked exhausted in the hospital bed. Silas was nowhere in the picture. The caption read, "My little miracle. Just us against the world. Just us." Elias looked at the photo. He looked at the baby that could have been his. If the world had been different. If Audrey had been different. He felt a momentary pang. A ghost of a what if. But then he looked at the coffee in front of him. He looked at the rain washing the streets clean outside. He looked at the peace that surrounded him. He was alone. But he was not lonely. He was accurate. He was balanced. Elias swiped left on the notification, clearing it from his screen. He opened his banking app. He transferred a sum of money to his savings account. The Italy fund. He was going to go. Alone. And he would enjoy every single calculated second of it. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates. See you next.